51551 is our text number, and Joe at RTE.ie. Let me go to Listowel in County Kerry to Aileen Hannon. Aileen, good afternoon.
Hi Joe, how are you?
Good, thanks. Explain to us, what is St Mary's of the Angels?
Okay, St Mary's of the Angels is a community that's been there since the 60s. It was set up by the nuns to take care of children that were severely mentally and physically disabled.
It's a residential unit. They live there.
They do.
Okay.
They live there.
And your brother has been living there since when?
1975.
And what age is he now?
He's 47.
And what is his difference? Why is he living in St Mary of the Angels?
Johnny has severe autism, and he doesn't speak. He's nonverbal, and he also has epilepsy.
So 43 years there. It is his home.
It's very much his home, Joe. He's very happy there.
And he likes it?
Yes. He has such great freedom. He has a lovely room of his own with family pictures on the walls. He can walk. Like, for autistic people, often the therapies are very important, like light therapy, aromatherapy. There's a hydro pool. I don't think Johnny goes to a pool, but he can walk freely down to the different therapies and walk back to his room, and he knows when to go into the main place for his dinner and things like that, you know.
Okay, so what has happened, Aileen, that has so many people contacting us this afternoon? What has happened with your brother Johnny?
Well, in the last few weeks, Joe, my sister had attended a normal meeting at Mary the Angels about some other issue, when one of the other parents brought up the idea of the closure of the place. Now, my sister was gobsmacked. She had heard nothing about this before, and many of them hadn't. And there was only 4 staff at that meeting, and I think they were unprepared for the questions. But that's when it all came out, that it had been slated for closure. So, because of this kind of new bureaucratic one-size-fits-all thing, where they want to put everyone out in the community. Now, having said that, as far as we see, this is a community. It has developed into a community over the years. Like Johnny had moved over the years from the kind of dormitory situation to where now he lives in a chalet on the grounds, a little bit away, with just 4 other tenants or 4 other people, each with
residents,
their own rooms and a main, like sharing a house,
And he has his own room done up to his own taste or whatever,
exactly.
Things he likes.
We can bring whatever we want in there for him that he wants, and he goes back and forth to the room himself. He can come hang out with the other residents if he wants, or retreat to his room, which again, this is for autistic people, is very important for them to be able to retreat and get rid of the sensations that might be bothering them.
So is St Mary of the Angels closing?
That's what they're telling. It's been slated for closing, is what we've been told.
And where's Johnny to go?
Exactly. What they've told us is that what the plan is to purchase, and this gets me really mad, to purchase houses in communities, like someone suggested Milltown, that there's going to be houses purchased there. Johnny would be moved there with some other residents, and to bring them more into the community. I don't even know what that means, because right now, he can leave his chalet and walk around the community that I call St. Mary the Angels and do his things. I don't see how he'd be able to do that in Milltown. Johnny doesn't really have a sense of traffic. He can walk out into the road. Plus, he has epilepsy. Who's going to mind him?
So he lives in a house, but it is in a relatively secure and indeed tranquil setting.
It's beautiful. Joe, you go there, you get out of the car, and you're just hit with this peace and tranquility. My dad wants to know why he can't live there.
Okay, stay there, Aileen. Jack Fitzpatrick, 51551, and we've Dolly Lawler here as well. Dolly, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joe.
And it's your son, Daniel, that's been living in St Mary of the Angels. How long has he been living there, Dolly?
35 years.
And what age is he now?
He'd be 39 in April.
Okay, so about 30. He's okay. So he's been there since he was quite young, since he was 3. And what was the difference that brought him into St Mary of the Angels, Dolly? What happened?
He's spina bifida. He was born spina bifida, and meningitis after having a shunt put into his head.
All right.
They drained the fluid, and basically up to he was 2 years of age, we thought he was blind, because when you would put your hand in front of him, he wouldn't blink even. But as the years came on, he kind of progressed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to a centre here in Tralee, and they recommended St. Mary of the Angels. So it's a blessing that I got that Danny was introduced to St. Mary of the Angels. There is no place in this country that I know of like it. And my main concern would be his care, because all those years that Danny is in St. Mary of the Angels, he has had the best of care from the people on the ground. They know him. They know if he's going to have a seizure, because he gets seizures. They know every aspect of Danny's being, and they go way beyond their remit to do everything they can to make the lads comfortable, and they're there on the ball all the time. They don't get enough praise for the work they do.
Okay. And Dolly, you mentioned over the years, obviously over nearly 4 decades, staff would change. Yes. Who is now running St. Mary? Is it's St. John of God's now, isn't it?
Yes.
Were they always running it?
No, it was nuns.
Okay, what religious order were they, do you remember?
I don't remember.
Okay, so when did St. John of God take over the running of this, St. Mary of the Angels?
I guess a year ago we had a meeting. Now, I've never been really interacted with St. John of God. I don't know why. I didn't know anything about them, really. And even though they were looking after St. Mary of the Angels, they didn't come forward and invite us and all that. But we had a meeting about a year ago. And that was the first time I was acknowledged as a parent by John of God.
And just to go back to the nuns for a sec.
Yes.
You said it was run by a religious order of nuns. Were there actually nuns running the place?
There were.
Okay.
Yes.
And where are the nuns now?
Some of them have sadly passed away.
Yeah.
And I think there is 1 or 2 of them still alive. And
probably
as far
retired,
as I know,
or whatever, yeah.
retired.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do St. John of God's have members? I know they're a religious order, but I think it's primarily run by non-religious.
It's a business.
Okay,
really.
well, that was going to be my question. Are there members of the St. John of God's religious order in Mary of the Angels?
Not as far as I know.
Okay,
no.
You haven't come across a brother or a priest or a
they did,
or whatever?
Yeah, I have one. I have come across one brother. At one point, he came to visit my house, and I had a query going back a few years ago. Can't even remember his name. Okay. He was a lovely man.
And did he come from Dublin or did he come from Beaufort?
No, they're living in Tralee.
Okay. Okay. Now, what have you been told, Dolly, about St. Mary of the Angels? Is it closing when? This word that has been slated for closure, but have you got a date and an alternative?
No. Well, what I was told was 2 members of the staff came to the house, and they were saying that there's a place in Tralee proposed. They haven't, as far as I know, they haven't started even building it to put Danny and a few of the rest of the residents into this house when it's built.
But is Daniel in a house at the moment in the grounds, or where is he living?
He's in a unit.
Okay. Have you complaints about the unit?
Oh God, no. I'll tell you now, if you've seen it yourself, and it's just fantastic. And actually, when the HICWA went in and done their last inspection, they were blown away by Mary Gretty's and Austin's units between the buildings.
They were happy with it.
They were very happy with it, and they were especially happy with the care that the staff were giving.
And remember, Hick, I'm not saying they're pernickety, but HICWA's job is to spot mistakes. So it's like from various levels. So there's no institution that's visited by HICWA that I suspect gets 100%. There's always something on any given day, be it a door might be blocked or whatever. But anyway, so you're saying you've no complaint whatsoever about Mary of the Angels. By the way, Dottie, can you call unannounced?
I can, yeah.
You can, okay. That's okay. Stay there. Eilish Perryman, Joe at RTE in 1850 715 815. Eilish Perryman is also in Listowel. You've a relation living in Mary of the Angels, Eilish?
Yes, Joe, good afternoon. My son Patrick lives in St. Clair's. It's a bungalow in St. Mary of the Angels. Patrick has been in the John of God service since 1998 and has lived in residence in Tralee for some years. Mm-hmm. Now, he has challenging behaviour. And in 2011, his challenging behaviour escalated. So the only thing they could do with him when he got really, really aggressive was to take him down to Kerry University Hospital to the psychiatric ward, which in our view was totally inappropriate. He'd be let out, he'd go back in again, and then we were really concerned about his care. So the St. John of God's then arranged that he be sent down to St. Raphael's Home in Cork for behaviour modification, and he spent 12 weeks there. They said that he'd be suitable in some place similar to St. Raphael's. And St. Mary the Angels was offered to us. And honestly, the staff there and their commitment to serve him, Patrick's life has totally changed. He is, all our neighbours, everybody says, he's a totally different man. Now, he calls that his home. Mm-hmm. And he goes back for the weekend. He'd say, oh, thank you for bringing me back. Or if he's home on holidays, he'll want to ring them to say, see, are they all right? Gosh. They are his friends.
And what age did your
39. He's 39. He's 4 years there now.
And what age was he when he became unwell?
Oh, it was about 2003 or 2004.
So he's in his 20s?
When he's in his 20s, yeah.
And do you know what happened? Eilish?
I don't know what happened. He completed a course with St. John of God's in Tralee, and he was very, very independent. And I don't know what happened. I got a call to go into into Kerry Hospital psychiatric ward. Patrick was very dishevelled when I went in, and after that he became really, really very, very his behaviour was really, really tough.
Was he unwell from the time he was born? Was he
he
different?
had intellectual disability. And he went to a special school here in Listowel.
Okay, but you're saying gradually it got more and more challenging.
That's right. But Joe, I want to say that I'm in favour of community living for the people who can enjoy it, because I meet them all the time in Tralee, and they love it out in the community. They're so independent. But for Patrick, it didn't suit him. And it certainly would not suit the people in St. Mary the Angels. People who have autistic problems, they wouldn't be able to handle them. They weren't able to handle Patrick. And in actual fact, the research has found that people with challenging behaviour, it's a fait accompli having them in the community, because they can only have a very limited access to local communities. And, they say successful community living involves a network of local community, contacts, supports, friends and advocates. Where in Ireland will the people with high dependency get that? It's a one-size-fits-for-all for the HSE. They're not caring for the people who are highly dependent. Joe, if you visited St. Mary of the Angels, the setting is fantastic. But there's one building, and HICWA have said that it's not suitable for the residents that are there because they don't have their own rooms. We would love if they had their own rooms. We would love if there were other houses built on the site. And it's absolutely, the gate is opened. those boys and girls, they walk around there. They don't. They could walk out the gate, but they don't. It's their home. It's just, Joe, if anyone who goes in there, they're absolutely...
They've been there for a long... And just to be clear, Dolly, Aileen, and indeed Eilish, I'm quite clear. I'll go to you, Aileen, first. There, you have no complaints about St. Mary of the Angels. There's been none...
Absolutely none, Joe. Those people treat our Johnny so well, and they know him inside out, like somebody else said there, you know.
But if John Gods, we're trying to get a statement from John Gods, but if John Gods were to say that, well, we're just going to move them to another building, but the staff would say the same, how would you cope with that, Aileen?
Sorry, Joe, what's the question?
Sorry, if St. John Gods said we will just move him to another house in the town or whatever, but the staff would stay the same. Well, of course, it's a different configuration.
You know, Joe, when they had, Eileen was saying they had the big house, they still had the big house with the dorms, and then Johnny was moved over to the chalets over time because, you know, the nuns really moved with the times with this place from day one. Johnny, even going from there over to the chalet, it took ages for him to stop going back to what his old home was.
Okay, but the new proposal seems to be to almost scatter them. I don't mean that pejoratively. To different parts of Kerry or whatever.
Yeah, that's isolation in the community, Joe. That is not assimilation into it.
Okay. Stay with us, Aileen, Dolly, and Deed Eilish. Back after this, 51551.
Talk to Joe on 1850 715 815.
And Joe at RTE.ie. Is Laura's there? Laura, your brother Bernard.
Hi, Joe. How are you? Yes,
thanks.
my brother Bernard Fitzpatrick is a resident at St. Mary the Angels.
And how long has he been living there?
He's been living there for 35 years, since he was 5 years old. He's now 40 since August.
Okay. And what's his situation?
Bernard's situation is that he was born with special needs. He doesn't walk or talk, but he shows his contentment in other ways. He smiles and gives us hugs. He's entirely happy where he is. He's always so content there, and they're his friends and his peers and people he knows and loves that he's been with for 35 years.
And Laura, just give us maybe you're just about to give us a description of St. Mary of the Angels. Like, even when you say the word, I'm envisaging or imagining a big institution. But is it like that in this day and age?
Absolutely not. It was never like it. It was never like it from day one. We loved going there. I'm going up there to visit them since I was 3 years old. They're beautiful open grounds. It's surrounded with the backdrop of there's mountains. If you're even stressed out yourself and you go up there to take Bernard out for a walk, you'd come home lighter. It does everyone good being there. He knows everyone there. If I'm out walking him and we meet other families or from different units, because there's 76 people there all together, so obviously I wouldn't know all of them, but they'll always say hi Bernard to him when they're passing. He knows people even I don't know. If he goes out into this community, inverted commas, they're actually taking him out of his beautiful community, and his world is going to be so much smaller. Nobody will know him. And he won't know anyone.
And does Bernard, I know some people don't have does Bernard have his own room?
He doesn't. He shares with two others, but he has done since he was 5.
Okay,
you know?
so it's their space.
It's his space, and okay. Our pictures over the wall, and you know, he's freedom. He's a big long corridor where he is, and he uses his feet to move, or his wheelchair, and he's always on the go there. He's up and down the corridors, in and out of rooms. He knows the place like the back of his hand. He's like Formula 1 driver above there. Like, he will never be able to do that again. His safety is paramount to us.
The comfort is incredible. The comfort of routine and
it really is. It's key to him.
People and the configuration and the comfort that you're used to. Laura, what is your understanding about the St. Mary of the Angels closing? I saw the phrase being used, decongregating. Decongregating.
So basically, they're on about moving out into the community, that people should no longer be living in these congregated settings. But unfortunately, these experts are taking into account only one understanding of the word community. Because if you look it up in the dictionary, the definition of a community is a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common. They completely discounted the reality for these residents, that their fellow clients and carers are their community.
Okay.
They're currently in a lovely one.
Okay, now stay with us. We are talking about St Mary of the Angels in Beaufort and Kerry, and I did mention, and actually people mentioned rooms and how the rooms are individualised, so to speak, and become their home, the home for the residents over 3-4 decades. More people now on Mary of the Angels after this story.
Talk to Joe on 1850 715 815.
And Joe at RTE and 51551 is their texter. Kathleen O'Keefe. Kathleen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joe.
Your sister was in St Mary of the Angels.
Yes, my sister was in St Mary of the Angels from the age of 5. She unfortunately died there last Christmas. But I just wanted to bring in the care that they provide back there. You know, my sister was taken into hospital and Christmas Eve was a blockage to her bowel. You know, and even though the staff at the hospital were just amazing, they did everything they could for her. It was the staff of her unit in St Mary Gretty's that came together, Joe. It was unbelievable. They came together. They came into the hospital. They did 12-hour shifts. My sister had severe autistic problems. They which means that she had to have her own things for her to be happy in her surroundings, you know, her own smells, everything. They brought in her own bedclothes, they brought in her own pillows, they brought in her own clothes, they brought in everything they could possibly bring into the hospital, into her bedroom to make her comfortable in her stay in the hospital. They took over the whole show in the hospital. They were just amazing right up till her death. They stayed there. They did 12-hour shifts.
That's incredible.
They brought in her own clothes, her own food. They took turns bringing in her own food because she couldn't eat solids. The staff at the hospital, you know, they didn't have the experience. It was just unbelievable, Joe, what they did for her in the hospital up to her death.
Now we've had a statement, and I'll go back to. By the way, so there were protocols, and it was really handled well.
It was, and it was all down to St Mary of the Angels.
Okay, the staff there. But can I go back to Laura for a second? I know the other women are now gone, but Laura, a long statement here on behalf of St John of God's, and they say the opening line is St Mary of the Angels is not closing.
The opening line is it's not closing.
It's not closing.
Currently, but that this is the future. It's HSC directive, time to move on from congregated settings, a strategy for community inclusion. So they're saying they have to follow that. But it's actually just a recipe for isolation. And I totally agree with the lady that
the transition will take.
They are amazing. They're incredible. They go above and beyond the college.
Okay, I take that point. That's been very well made. St John of God Community Services is committed to facilitating residents to transition to community living over a period of time. The transition will take place in consultation with the person and their family members. Have you got a veto on removing your brother from, or any?
Yes, we received a phone call. My mother did 3 weeks ago. It must have been 3 weeks ago now, just to say that my brother's name had been put down for a house in Milltown. I mean, a house that we hadn't seen or know.
But can you say no? Can you say no?
We can say no, but the place is due to close.
Yeah, but hang on. You now have a statement. I'd send it on to all of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's from a PR company on behalf of St John of God's, and the opening line is, in black and white, St Mary of the Angels is not closing. So when you're phoned to say, you say you got a phone call, your mother got a phone call, just repeat that line, St Mary of the Angels is not closing, thank you very much. I'll be up to see my son or my brother as I do every day, every second day or whatever. Thank you very much. Why don't you do that?
Because there was a general family forum meeting called 3 weeks ago, Sunday evening actually at the All Ireland at 6 o'clock, which we were at. And that meeting was a general forum, and it was about how well everything's going there and how great everything was. And towards the end of that meeting, my dad asked the question, what is the future of St. Mary's Angels? What is the future of where we are right now? John of God's need to follow a HSE directive that has been ruled out all over the country. This time to move on from congregation settings.
Yeah, but my understanding from what you all describe it as, Laura, is that it's not a congregated setting.
Absolutely not. It's a beautiful community. There is a pool, there is a school there is a chapel. They have full access to all these services with the people that know and understand them and care about them the best. They will never again see each other if they're split up all over Kerry. People that have been able to see each other daily with the last 30 years. Where are they going to think each other are? I know for a fact that the top specialists could be flown over from America and try to sit down with my brother and explain to him what is happening And unfortunately, he will never grasp it. Like, he does not have that understanding. He's like a 6-month-old baby. You know, he'll never know where everyone's gone or where he's gone even.
Okay. But as I say, that's their line there. St. Mary of the Angels is not closing.
Okay.
That is the opening line. Okay.
That's great to know.
Okay, Laura, thanks indeed. That's Laura Fitzpatrick and indeed Kathleen O'Keefe, and condolences on the passing of your sister Irene. 51551. We're back after this break.
Talk to Joe on 1850 715 815.